Nothing super huge. There's a few things on here, but we'll just kind of wade through them. The aggravated assaults, probably the only big thing of note was a guy that had a gunshot wound. He showed up at the hospital this morning about 2 a.m. Gunshot wound to his lower back area. It was, I suppose, considered non-life threatening. Outside of that, we don't really have a lot of information. He was less than forthcoming, didn't want to give a lot of details, and the few details that he did were very conflicting and inconsistent. So we're still working to try to figure out exactly what happened with that.
It was just the one gunshot?
Just the one, yeah. Just.
Where he got shot? Like the location?
No, that's one of the things we're still working on. He gave, like I said, he gave a little bit of information, but really nothing panned out, and then he kind of changed stories. Somebody dropped him off and then drove away. Yep.
Was he under the influence of anything at all? Or?
I didn't see anything in the report about that, so I don't believe he was under the influence. I mean, usually that's one of the things the officers would note in the report. I didn't see anything about that, so I don't think there's any reason to believe he was under the influence or that had anything to do with him getting shot.
I don't know if that would influence his story.
Sometimes that does, yeah. And actually we had another aggravated assault. The guy said he was shot with a paintball, but he was so intoxicated that we weren't able to get any details whatsoever from him. So certainly there are times when that happens. Obviously this is one of them, but at least with the gunshot victim, he just didn't really want to tell us what happened. A couple of the other aggravated assaults were people threatened with knives, but no injuries on those. The arson that involves a juvenile. The one assault was a domestic. The burglaries, we had a little bit of everything, some apartment garages, some storage units, house, a couple of businesses. One of them was about 3:40 this morning, and that was at a convenience store near 41st Street in Kiwanis. There was a burglar alarm that went, or was activated, and as an officer arrived, he saw a woman walking away from the store and had several boxes of cigarettes. Turns out she had been in the store. We're not sure how she was able to enter the store. There didn't appear to be any forced entry, but she was inside, grabbed a bunch of cartons of cigarettes, and then walked away. So she was arrested for the burglary and theft.
Do you have a block address for that one?
Yeah, that, excuse me, that's the 2900 block of West 41st Street.
In 41st and Kiwanis.
Like 41st and Kiwanis, yep.
Do you ever?
Sure. Her last name is Barnes, Barnes. First is Sarah, Sarah. Middle is Yvonne, Yvonne, and she's 32, from Dune, Iowa, Dune.
She like break into the store, or just like?
Well, we know she was in the store. We're not sure how she was able to get in the store. There wasn't any, didn't appear to be any forced entry, so we're not sure how she was able to get in. That call was about 3:40 a.m. this morning, Monday morning.
Was there surveillance at the business?
There is, and it seemed like they were reviewing it. Looks like there may have been another person that was in the store as well, but that person wasn't located. So we're still working on figuring out how she got in and then who the other person was as well. 32.
And just cigarette boxes, cartons of cigarettes?
Yep, it was. Let me get the number here. I think it was 5, but excuse me. Yeah, she had 5 cartons. Well, I guess packs. Yeah, 5 packs. Yeah, there it is. 5 packs of cigarettes. The value was $40 basically.
No cash registers were broken into?
No cash registers, no cash was taken, just the cigarettes. At least as far as we know at this point.
Do you know if anything else was taken by the other?
That we don't know. Obviously, we'll have to try to identify that other person, but from the reviewing of the surveillance, they don't believe he took anything, but I don't know that we conclusively know that. So that's one of the things that they'll look at to find out if if he had taken anything or not.
That was a convenience store in that area.
Yeah, a gas station. Let's see, the disorderly conducts, nothing big out of those. Had a bunch of trespassing, some warrants, and other reports. The embezzlement had a couple of cars that were loaned out. The other was some work equipment that hasn't been returned. Nothing big from family offenses. Those are all reports. The frauds, credit cards, ID thefts. The one big thing we had there, and this was on Friday afternoon, but we had a business, had an employee that received a phone call, ended up being a scam, but the person that called claimed that they were essentially a regional manager, and this scammer was able to convince the employee to take cash from the business and then go purchase Bitcoin. He ended up taking $3,600 in cash and then went to a kiosk and got some Bitcoin and then gave the person on the phone the numbers to that Bitcoin. So we've seen other instances like this where I think this may be the first business that they've been scammed out of Bitcoin. Usually it's like getting gift cards or something like that. The real challenge with this is once they purchase that Bitcoin and give the people the number, it's gone. I mean, it's untraceable. So this is, like I said, one of the first times that we've heard of this. The scam itself isn't anything new, but I suppose the easiest thing to do is if people get a call from somebody and are trying to get them to go buy Bitcoin, that should be a huge red flag. And certainly there may be some instances where upper management or a regional person may call a business and want them to do something, but they need to verify that. And I don't think the employee necessarily knew the regional manager, but recognized the name and at least the first name. So what we want people to do is just to verify. It's the same thing with any scam. Anytime people get a phone call, if they're asked to do something, to take care of a warrant or to, buy something for the business or get a kid out of jail or whatever it is, there's any number of different scams, but get that contact information from that person, hang up, and call somebody else. Don't use that same number, but call somebody else to verify if this stuff is true or not. So in this case, they could have called the manager, supervisor, and checked with them. But it's all too often the scammers keep people on the phone and are very good at convincing them that they need to purchase gift cards, purchase Bitcoin, whatever the case may be. So we want people to verify that on their own before they do anything with that money.
Is this like a new variation of that kind of scam with the Bitcoin?
Yeah, the Bitcoin is probably the new gift card. For a while we were seeing either iTunes gift cards were very popular, reloadable credit cards, that's been pretty common as well. I think Bitcoin is the next variation of that, because once you take that number, that sequence number, it's virtually untraceable. And so there's a lot of scams that are moving to that Bitcoin. And so I would say if people get a phone call and they're asked to purchase Bitcoin, that should be a big red flag, and they should avoid that. And like I said, verify that the caller is genuine and who they say they are.
Do you have a time and location for this incident?
Yeah, it was Friday afternoon about 1:30, and the location, give me a second. That was in the 2800 block of East 10th Street near 10th and Cleveland.
And is the employee being charged with anything?
No, they're a victim in this case, yeah. So the employee's not going to be charged with anything.
It was what, $3,600?
$3,600, yep. That's how much was taken from the business and used to purchase the Bitcoin. Let's see, larcenies, nothing big out of those. Same thing with narcotics, no big quantities found. The sex offenses, about half of them are reports. The other half were sex offenders that didn't change their address. Nothing serious from the simple assaults. Most of those are more domestics. Nothing suspicious from the unattended death. The vandalisms, we had a little bit of everything. Some cars that were damaged, some houses that were damaged, but no arrests on any of those. And the weapons violation, that involves a juvenile. And that's all I have, unless you guys have anything else. Okay, thank you.